Hello, my name is Sabrina Medeiros. My co-author is Moreira. We are both from the Brazilian Naval War College, and here we are to present our last paper on maritime cooperation within South Atlantic countries. Thank you for the audience and for the opportunity. So, structures and mechanisms aim at meeting the demands related to the governance of the oceans. Even though navies are constituted primarily for defense purposes, there are some activities developed for security and safety, which requires navies' international and national arrangements to include other institutions and agencies. So, the best representation of those cooperative mechanisms would be a crossing structure among navies and their institutional counterparts, constituting communities of security practices. The recognition that South Atlantic is not a security community, even in its subregions, seems to be a consensus view among some of the experts. But still, countries rely on navies to protect their jurisdictional waters, granted by the provisions for the United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Seas. In the case of Brazil, that task assumes enormous proportions. Its littoral is 8,500 kilometers long, and the sum of the exclusive zone plus the continental shelf areas totals 4.5 million kilometers square, about half of the land of the country. Also, 2,000 kilometers of rivers, mainly in the Amazon and the Paraguay-Paraná basins, drive the Atlantic influence inward to the continental mass. In that sense, most scholars, strategists, politicians, and defense experts acknowledge the diplomatic role of navies and their peaceful roles to the benefit of maintaining an equilibrium in the international system. Brazilian foreign policy is governed by constitutional principles like the national independence, self-determination of peoples, non-intervention, equally among states, defense for peace and peaceful settlements of conflicts, and cooperation among peoples for the progress of humanity. Aligned with those principles and others from the national defense policy and the national strategy of defense, under the aegis of the Ministry of Defense, the Brazilian Navy holds multilateral and bilateral meetings with friendly countries and navies. You can see in this slide, then. Those meetings contribute to building cooperation and confidence, with measures ranging from personal exchanges on courses or staff assignments, symposiums, seminars, through to complex multilateral naval operations such as IPSAMAR, as you can see, one of the big operations and multinational exercises and operations that Brazil holds. Another example is the partnership with Namibia to assist in the building of naval wing of the country's defense forces, and the current efforts are also fostering relations with Cameroon. As the first regional maritime controller, the Brazilian CONCONTRAN has already shared the long-range identification and tracking system, which is LERIT system, through the Centro de Dados Regional, LERIT do Brasil, with Uruguay and Paraguay, which is the first ever regional commitment in terms of controlling and maritime security. And it's presently coordinating an equal sharing with Namibia and Angola. That represents long-range information accessibility in support of maritime control across the South Atlantic, which is dependent on the land-based capabilities and technology available to each state and respective organization. So those efforts in the Americas South Atlantic tend to be more valuable and effective if there are the same correspondence and efforts in West Africa. By proposing itself as the first regional controlling system, it has expanded the coverage from the regional area of South Atlantic to across the Atlantic. It seems clear that the efforts in South America tend to be more valuable and effective if this is provoked into the West, in terms of West of Africa. It is significant to note that South Atlantic cooperation has evolved around maritime cooperation, but not only that, undoubtedly, so as to promote cooperation, improving maritime security and safety procedures may align a significant part of the state institutions' desire to mirror actions from all over those continents bordering the Atlantic. So regimes like CAMAS, which is South Atlantic Coordination, originally created by the Organization of American States system by the Inter-American Defense Board, now has a new proportion. And for the 21st century, it can reinforce and provoke that extra-regional cooperative alignment. So thank you for the opportunity. Hope to meet you face to face next time.